Guys, welcome back. It is Racer X, and today is race day. I'm super excited about race day. It's been a couple of weeks since I've had a chance to run the car. Unfortunately, we don't have the Scat Pack today. It's actually getting some work done to the center console, but we got the 1,000 horsepower Hellcat. We're gonna go down to the 8th mile track, which is Extreme Raceway Park, and we're gonna put this thing through its paces. But today I wanna talk a little bit about the things that I do in order to get my car completely set up and race ready. And that's gonna be anything from pulling the seats out sometimes, which I'm actually gonna do today, to getting the tires set up, making sure I've got the right fluids in the car and so forth. And I just want to cover that with you guys and maybe share a little bit of knowledge. Maybe it's something you guys can use at home. Stay tuned. Well, we don't have the Scat Pack today. We've actually got this rental 2019 Ram 1500, and we're going to put it to good use today. We've actually got the tires in the back of the car. As you can see, front runners are there as well. So I'm actually going to change the tires out at the track while the car is cooling down. So I will show you how I do that. Got a couple of special tools that I'll use for that as well. And I want to move on to kind of show you what else I do to lighten the car. All right, guys, so first order of business here, we got to get the seats out of the car. And you're going to need a couple of special items to kind of get the seats out. So I want to kind of show you that process. It's really not that hard once you get used to it. I can actually pull the front seat out in about 10 minutes. So you're talking about a fairly sizable chunk of weight. I'm guessing somewhere around 75 to 80 pounds just for the front seat alone. So I think it's definitely worth doing if you can do it to shave a little bit of weight. So I want to kind of show you what it is that you'll need to get that done. So just for time's sake, guys, I want to kind of show you. I move the seat all the way back. That's the very first thing you do. And there's two bolts right here that you need to get at. And you actually need an E14 socket. You can see right there, it's kind of a star shape. You can see the bolt there. The seat's actually going to fall back because I've already pulled the bolts out, which is okay. But you can see what that bolt looks like. So you need that special E14 socket to get those out. I can actually get my impact on it as well. I've got all 4 bolts removed. So once you get the front ones removed, obviously at that point you'll move the seat forward. Don't disconnect the lines underneath the seat until you've disconnected all the bolts and the seat belt, which I'll show you. With the seat moved all the way forward, you'll go ahead and remove these back 2 bolts right here. I actually have enough room to get the impact wrench on them. They just come right out super easy. Now for the last part, guys. This is actually, this little piece right here, you just literally like pop it right up and out. It's very easy. And then you'll have this thing connected in there like that. And then of course I use my impact. If you have the seat moved all the way forward, guys, it's actually really easy to get at it with an impact wrench. And you actually need a special tool, which I will show you here. It's actually not a special tool, but it's a special little socket. And this thing is actually a, what is this? It's a T50 is what it is. And you can see there what that looks like. I had to find an actual, I had to find a kit with this in it. But you need a T50 to get this thing out. And, you know, like I said, you simply pop it out, seatbelt comes out, and now the seat is ready to remove, with the exception of the little lines in the front. So we'll lean it forward. You've got a couple of things to unhook right here, only 2. It's actually quite easy. And then you'll pull the seat directly out. There you go, easy as that. Okay, front seat is out. That's what it looks like. Time to move on to the back. So I'll step around here, show you guys. I've actually just pulled the little tab up here, folded the seat down, and then it's actually quite simple, guys. There's a little Velcro deal right here that exposes the nuts that you need to remove. In order to fold this piece right here down, you'll fold it down towards the seat, and then it's a simple matter of pulling this seat towards you out of the little deal. There's actually kind of like a little metal piece that sticks out that this goes into. You'll literally just pull it right out. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove those. Okay, they're out. You can see there, I went ahead and pulled this piece out so I could illustrate this to you, but it's simply a matter of folding it forward, and you'll simply pull towards you, and this top piece will pull out. You'll need like an 18 millimeter socket to get these out, or you can use a crescent wrench like this. Not too hard, 2 bolts, and pull it on out. Another quick thing, guys, if you do have the heated seats in your car, and I believe most of the Hellcat guys will, you do have one little thing here to disconnect. It's simply, you push on it, pull it apart, and then you're good to go ahead and remove this. Okay, same process on this side, guys. You can see that side's out over there. We'll simply go here, pull it down. We'll expose those. We'll get those out of there with our 18 mil. And once again, we will disconnect the seat, and then we'll go ahead and pull this part out. Okay, as you can see, we now have the entire top portion of the back seat out. It took 4 bolts and just disconnecting a couple of things there, and then we're good. So we've got the bottom remaining, and the bottom is actually quite simple. All you literally do is pull up here, right in the middle of the seat. You got to give it a pretty good yank. Pop this up. Same on the other side. You'll yank it, just pop it right up. You won't hurt it. Just kind of grab right in the middle here, pull up. You've got one thing to disconnect there in the back before you pull it out, assuming you've got the heated seat package, and the back seat will be complete. So I just pulled up on both those front tabs. You can see here the seat belts are still kind of stuck in here a little bit, so I just kind of pulled it. You can see I'm starting to separate it. You'll go ahead and get these other things out of here like that, and then there is something to disconnect right over here, right there. So make sure you disconnect that. You can pull it straight on out. I do keep these things in here. These come from the factory. They're just little plastic tab things. They just kind of help to protect the actual seat cushion itself. I always put those back as well. Okay, I know some of you guys may be cussing trying to figure out how to get this little thing out. So just real quick, you'll push down right there. Push on that little dude right there. Boom, and then just straight pull it out. So anyway, I figure maybe some of you guys might be cussing this thing, trying to figure out how to get it out. Pretty simple. Push it right there, boom, and then pull. Just like that, we have pulled over 100 pounds out of our 1,000 horsepower Dodge Charger Hellcat, and the interior is essentially ready for battle. So one other quick item of note that I've not talked a lot about, but before I race, and every time before I race, I check all the fluids in the car. So that means anything from engine oil all the way up to the coolant levels, making sure everything is completely ready to go. I have a catch can on my car. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but I do have a catch can. I make sure that is empty every time before I race, and I want to make sure that the car is 100% healthy under here. It doesn't take but just a couple of minutes to make sure all of your fluid levels are right, just to make sure your car is performing to its full potential. I also want to talk a little bit about fuel, and guys, this is actually really important. I've got this handy dandy race jug, as you can see here. I always go and fill that up before I go out to the track, just to make sure I have enough fuel to get home. The ideal situation, my track is about an hour from me, so I go and I fill up with enough E85. Hopefully you guys know that I'm on E85. To get all the way to the track and run with about a half tank of fuel. And the reason I do that, and some people say, why in the world would you run with a half tank of fuel? I've got those big twin 450 fuel pumps sitting down in the gas tank there. And if I don't run with at least a third of a tank of fuel, and I found this out the hard way, the car literally starts choking and it starves itself for fuel because of the fuel slosh from when the car goes to take off. So I typically run my car with a half tank of fuel in it if I can. I'll let it get as low as about a third, but once I'm at a third, I actually start putting more fuel back in it. Look, guys, the car weighs 4,600 pounds race weight. It is heavy. It's not going to hurt it to have an extra gallon or two of fuel in it. I know that may be contradictory to what some people believe, but I would rather have the car, you know, have enough fuel than start puking, especially in a competition situation where, you know, the car's starving for fuel. I lose a race because it doesn't have enough fuel because I won't put an extra 10 pounds of fuel in it. It just makes no sense. So I get the 85 in the jug for when I go home. I try to get out there with enough fuel to not only run, but then safely get me home. It works great. So another quick little item of note, I guess, obviously being a YouTuber, I have to do certain things before I go out to the track to make sure I can get the right footage. So as you can see there, I've got to make sure I get my GoPro mounts. I got to make sure I have my, you know, my SIM cards ready to go. GoPros need to be charged up, all that good stuff. And in addition, I have to make sure I've got my laptop here charged up because I do data log every pass with the car just to make sure the car is healthy. And all those items need to be charged. I got to make sure I have like all my stuff. There's nothing worse than getting to the track and realizing that you don't have all the stuff you need to either get the right content or to get the car data logged and make sure the car is going to be safe. So definitely something to consider there as well. It's time to close up the car, get her buttoned down, and head out to the drag strip. Okay, I have arrived here at the track, and as with most tracks, you're obviously going to get a couple of things. You've got your little band. It's going to tell the guys up front that you're a racer, and then of course you get your tech card. Got to fill that out. It's basically in the event of accidental death or dismemberment or whatever, you're not going to sue. I'm suing. It is what it is. couple of things left for me to do to make sure the car is ready, right? One, obviously I'm gonna let the car cool down. While we're doing all this stuff, we're gonna change out the tires, both the front and back. We've got front runners for the front, the bigger tires in the back. And then of course, the only other thing I do is I change the, I pull the filter here. I don't change anything, I just literally pull the air filter. Only takes a second. It's basically 3 little screws right here. And then it's pretty much a done deal. Pull it out, bolt it back, and then when we're done, I put it right back in. It's that simple. And then we'll also lower the tire pressures on the back. We'll start tonight at about 20 PSI, and then we'll lower it or take it up, depending upon what the traction is like tonight. So as you can see, guys, I'm jacking up the car from the middle here, right underneath the pumpkin. And then I'm gonna jack it up just a little bit, and then of course I'll loosen these before it gets all the way off the ground, and then I'll take the wheels completely off and replace them with the Dark Stars for racing. Well guys, as you can see, my helper's back there. She's getting me dialed in on my tire pressures. She's like a pro at it, so always got my help. I don't want to forget to mention the wife. She's always behind the scenes doing what she does, which is awesome. Already loosened up the lugs on the front, guys. Got the jack underneath here. You can see I like to put it right there just to make sure it gets I get a good lift on the thing. So like I said, it's already loosened up. If you don't loosen them up first, guys, she'll just spin in the front. So that's kind of the bummer. But I also have to park it up on these boards because the jack just will not get under there to that spot. So anyway, guys, I've got these handy dandy boards I park it up on to get these front tires changed out, and the fronts always take me longer. Car is ready to rock and roll. We got the fronts on, which really sucks, those. And then of course we got the backs, we got the pressures dialed in. We're running about 42 pounds on these bias ply front runners, the 18s, 17s. We're gonna start with 20, see how she goes. Filters out, everything's ready. We got to get inside and set our drive modes, and we're off. Okay, we've got to set our custom drive modes, so we'll hit on custom here. Make sure we get everything set the way that we want it. Obviously we want our suspension in street. We want our traction, doesn't really matter. Paddles on is fine because that's what we'll need for the burnout. Transmission we'll want in track, and 700 horsepower. So the car is officially ready. Okay guys, that's it. Car's ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and send it here in just a second. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Just want to show you what I do to get my car completely set up. It's gonna be a fun night, and hey, if you guys have any questions, any comments, please let me know down below. And until next time, guys, Racer X. First pass, I'm running a CTS-V. Looks pretty fast. See how she does. Well, that was a 627 at a 112.84. That's about what I thought she'd do. 145, 60 foot, so I've got some room for improvement, but overall a 627. The DA's really high tonight, so the car, she did great.